For a long time, the galaxy was quiet. Planets spun in silence, stars lived and died, and the Valari Empire watched it all from above. They believed they were alone, the only intelligent life left after the great burn thousands of years ago. And Earth, a small blue planet at the edge of the galaxy, was nothing more than dust to them, a place of ashes, ruins, and forgotten wars. But they were wrong. Someone was still alive on Earth. A boy named Leon, hidden deep in the mountains, and he remembered everything. He was only 15, but he had survived things no child should. The fires, the machines, the sound of buildings falling. His parents had taught him how to run, how to stay quiet, and how to stay alive. They were gone now, taken during the last attack. But Leon kept moving. He stayed in the shadows, ate from cold cans, and listened to the skies. The world around him was broken. Skyscrapers stood like skeletons, torn and black. Cars were frozen in place. Their windows shattered, their engines cold. Nature was creeping back, vines wrapped around steel. Trees broke through cracked roads. Birds sang like nothing had happened. But Leon knew everything had changed. Every night he stared at the stars. He watched them blink above the clouds, like a message waiting to be read. He often wondered if someone out there was watching him, someone who cared, someone who remembered Earth. Far above, in a golden station floating near a dying sun, the Valari sat in peace. They wore long robes and spoke in quiet voices. They had maps, glowing charts, and crystal panels that showed them every part of space. But none of those maps showed Earth anymore. It had been deleted. A ghost world, marked red long ago. A young Valari named Nira looked at a screen one morning and saw a ghost world marked red long ago. A ghost world marked red long ago. A young Valari named Nira looked at a screen one morning and saw something strange. A signal, small and weak, coming from a forbidden zone. She blinked, tapped the screen, and leaned closer. It was from Earth. The message was broken, full of static, but one word came through: help. She took it to the High Council, but they laughed. Earth is dead, they said. There are no humans left, just a machine glitch. But Nira didn't believe them. She remembered old stories. She remembered the first war. The war no one was allowed to talk about. The war where humans had almost broken the stars. Leon didn't know that someone had heard him. He didn't know that his broken radio had reached across space. He only knew that something felt different. The wind was colder, the sky darker, and the ground hummed under his feet. He felt it in his bones. Something was coming. He climbed the tallest tower left in the city. It shook in the wind, glass cracking beneath his boots. At the top, he opened his father's old notebook and turned on the radio again. He spoke, not knowing if anyone would hear. My name is Leon, he said, voice shaking. I am human. I am still alive. If you can hear me, remember us. We are not all gone. Miles above him, beyond stars and silence. The Valari sensors blinked again. The signal grew stronger, clearer, and this time others noticed. Whispers spread in the Empire. Could a human have survived? Could Earth still have breath in its lungs? Was the old fear waking up again? The council held a secret meeting. They argued in quiet tones, afraid even of their own thoughts. If it's true, one elder said, we must act. But if we act, another warned, we risk everything. For one boy? A third asked, we burned the truth for peace. Meanwhile, Leon stood in the wind. He looked at the stars, unaware that millions of eyes were now looking back, unaware that his voice had cracked the silence of 1,000 years. He closed his notebook and whispered to the sky, I'm not afraid. The wind carried his words. The stars blinked again, and far away, something ancient turned its gaze toward Earth. Something that had been waiting, watching, sleeping, and now it was waking up. The sun rose slowly over the ruins of Earth. Its light touched broken towers, silent cars, and shattered streets. Leon sat by the edge of a rooftop, holding his father's notebook close. He had sent out the signal again, one. More time before sunrise. He didn't expect an answer, but he hoped. Suddenly, a strange sound filled the air. Not thunder, not wind, something deeper. A low hum that made his bones feel heavy. He stood quickly, looking around. Birds shot out from trees like frightened arrows. The ground began to shake. Leon's eyes widened as he saw the sky change. Clouds twisted, pulled apart by something unseen. Then, a flash of red light split the sky in half. A ship, no, a shadow ripped through the air above. Huge, dark, and fast. It didn't look like anything he had ever seen. It wasn't from Earth. He knew that instantly. The warship stopped above the city ruins. Floating silently, it had no markings, no flag. Only sharp lines and glowing circles of red. Then, without warning, it fired. A beam of pure energy hit the ground 5 blocks away. The explosion knocked Leon back, sending dust and fire into the air. The rooftop cracked beneath him. He rolled and covered his head. Heart pounding. When he opened his eyes, the world was burning again, just like it had years ago. Leon crawled back inside the building, coughing and shaking. His radio was smashed. But the notebook was still with him. He didn't know what they wanted, but it was clear. They weren't here by mistake above the Earth. In the Valari council chamber, chaos broke out. Nira stared at the live feed in horror. "This isn't US," she whispered. "That ship. It's not Valari." The council members were panicking, speaking over each other. Who attacked Earth? Why now? Was it the boy's signal? But Nira wasn't listening anymore. She had already decided. She left the chamber quietly, heading for her private shuttle. She couldn't wait for orders. Someone had to help. Back on Earth, Leon moved through underground tunnels. He knew the city well. His father had shown him safe paths years ago. He reached an old shelter deep under a museum. There, behind a steel door, was the secret. A black metal chamber, untouched by time. It was hidden long ago by people who knew the truth. Inside, something waited, an old piece of tech that hummed softly in the dark. Leon placed his hand on it. The surface lit up. It scanned his skin, his blood, his DNA. Then it opened. Inside was a strange suit, silver and dark blue, with lines that glowed like veins. It pulsed as if it were alive. Leon stared at it, confused. The suit moved on its own and wrapped around him, piece by piece. And then, everything changed. He could hear more, see farther, feel the heartbeat of the Earth beneath him. Memories not his own flashed in his mind. Soldiers, stars, war, loss. He gasped and fell to his knees. But the suit didn't stop. It whispered, "Awakening complete. Pilot confirmed. Human DNA matched." Leon was no longer just a survivor. He had become something else. Something meant to fight. The alien ship above noticed the energy surge. It turned slowly, scanning the city. Another beam began to charge, aiming directly at the shelter. But before it could fire, a blast of light shot up from the ground. Leon jumped, the suit flying with him, protecting his body with an energy field. He didn't know how, but the suit knew what to do. He fired back. The beam hit the alien ship's shield, making it flicker and spark. The ship backed off, confused. It hadn't expected resistance. It hadn't expected a human. Leon landed on the rooftop again, breathing hard. Smoke rose around him. His hands shook, but his eyes were sharp now. He looked at the burning sky and whispered, "You want to fight? I'm still here." Far away, in her stolen shuttle, Nira saw it too. She gasped. "He's wearing it." The old tech, the same armor spoken of in forbidden stories. The kind that once stood against the galaxy's strongest armies. The boy wasn't just alive, he was armed, and the galaxy was about to remember what humans could do. The suit pulsed with life as Leon stood under the broken sky. It wrapped around his body like second skin, metal and light moving as one. He didn't know how it worked, but it moved with him, fought with him. It felt like it had been waiting just for him. High above, the alien ship circled again, but it kept its distance now. That one human had damaged its shield, something it hadn't thought possible. Its scanners showed an unknown power source, old, dangerous, human, in the stars beyond. Alarms rang through the hidden fleets. Not just the Velari Empire, but other alien races as well. They watched the footage in silence. A human in ancient armor, still standing, still fighting. And then came fear. Not fear of the boy himself, but fear of what he represented, because long ago, humanity had done something unthinkable. They had almost won, and the galaxy had worked hard to bury that memory. Leon dropped to his knees after the last blast. His heart pounded, lungs burned. But the suit held him steady. It whispered in his ears, not with words but with emotion, strength, focus, survival. He looked at his reflection in a piece of shattered glass. He didn't look like the scared boy from the tunnels anymore. He looked like a soldier. No, he looked like something more. He searched the suit for answers. A panel on his forearm opened, glowing softly. Images and maps appeared, some of Earth, some of places he had never seen. Stars, ships, names in a language he didn't know. But his mind understood them, somehow, as if the suit was unlocking parts of his brain, parts that had been asleep. He pressed one icon without knowing why. A small hologram appeared. It showed a battle long ago, humans in similar suits fighting massive alien machines, Velari ships firing down on Earth. And one voice repeated a warning. They fear us not because we destroy, but because we remember. Leon stared at it, shaking. What had they done to deserve such silence? Why had they been erased from history? And what was this armor really made for? Far beyond the moon, Velari warships prepared to leave port. The council had made their decision. If the human is truly alive, said one elder, we must capture him before others find him. He wears the Forbidden's armor, another warned. If it falls into the wrong hands, the balance will collapse. Mira, hidden in her stolen shuttle, listened to the transmission. She clenched her fists. They don't want to help him, she whispered. They want to hide him. She sped toward Earth, her ship shaking as it entered the atmosphere. She had only one goal, now reach the human first. On the ground, Leon moved through the ruins. The suit guided him, showing paths. Warning of danger, he reached the center of the city, where a great crater lay. This was where the first attack had landed, years ago. This was where his mother died. He stepped into the crater. The earth buzzed beneath him. The suit glowed brighter. Then, from beneath the soil, an old hatch opened. A platform rose, covered in dust and roots. In its center, another device. Small and round, the suit pulsed faster. Memory core detected, it whispered. Leon touched it. A surge of light burst into the air. The sky above flickered with images. A young human scientist, laughing, an alien diplomat shaking hands with a soldier. And then, fire, betrayal, war. It was the missing truth. The history no one had told. Aliens had not just attacked Earth, some had helped. And some had feared what Earth might become. So they burned the records, erased the memories, and left Earth to rot. But now the truth had returned. Leon clenched his fists. I'm not just a survivor, he said to the sky. I'm a witness. Suddenly, a new ship entered the atmosphere. Not an enemy, smaller, faster, silver and white. It landed gently nearby. A figure stepped out, Naira, dressed in sleek armor, her hands raised. I'm not here to hurt you, she called. I saw your signal. I know what they did. Leon aimed his arm cannon but didn't fire. The suit hummed but stayed still. He studied her face, calm, serious, not afraid. And in her eyes he saw something rare, not fear, not lies, but truth. I'm listening, he said quietly. And for the first time in years, a human and alien stood face to face, not as enemies, but as survivors of the same hidden war. And the galaxy? It watched in silence, because the boy they thought was broken was now something else. He was the human they feared. Leon and Nira stood in the center of the crater. The wind blew dust around them, and the silence between them was heavy. She looked at him not like an enemy, but like someone who had waited years for this moment. He was still breathing hard, suit glowing faintly, the cannon on his arm ready to fire. "I know what you're feeling," Nira said softly. "You don't trust me. You think I'm one of them." Leon didn't answer. He just stared at her with cold eyes, the kind that had seen too much too young. Nira stepped closer, slowly. "The truth is, the Council hid what they did to Earth," she said. "They were afraid of what humanity could become. They thought it was safer to erase you." Leon's voice was low and steady. "Safer for them," she nodded. "Yes." He turned and looked at the device still glowing behind them. The memory core. It pulsed like a heartbeat, showing fragments of what had been hidden. Old battles, peaceful meetings, betrayals written in fire. "I want the galaxy to know," Leon said. "I want them to see what really happened." Nira moved to a panel on her wrist. "I can open a broadcast channel," she said. "It will reach every star within the old Valari network." "Do it," Leon replied. She connected the memory core to her ship's signal tower. The ground shook slightly as the energy flowed upward. Above them, the clouds split, and a beam of light shot into the sky. All across the stars, communication screens flickered to life. On every ship, every station, every city, aliens paused. As their screens turned blue, an unfamiliar human face appeared, young, scarred, determined. "My name is Leon," the voice said. "I am human. I live on Earth, and this is our truth." Then the images played, a story long buried, humans helping build peace across the stars. Then slowly, being pushed aside, silenced, attacked, and finally erased. Some aliens stared in shock, others in shame, and many in fear. On a distant warship, a captain whispered, "I thought they were all gone." A scientist on a moonbase covered her mouth. "We were taught humans destroyed themselves." An old Valari elder dropped his cup. "They're back," he muttered. "The ones we betrayed." In the center of it all, the Valari council chamber exploded with noise. Elders shouted, panicking, "Shut it down." One ordered, "Too late," another said, staring at the spreading feed. "It's already everywhere." And across the stars, whispers became roars. "Earth still lives. There is a human. He knows." Back on Earth, the broadcast ended. Leon stepped back from the core, his hands shaking. The weight of what he had done settled over him. Nira looked at him with wide eyes. "You just woke the galaxy," she said. "I didn't wake it," Leon replied. "I reminded it." But the galaxy didn't like to be reminded. Moments later, Valari command ships locked onto Earth. A red alert rang through Nira's ship. "Incoming fleet," the voice warned. "Estimated time, 15 minutes. "They're coming," Nira said, panic in her voice. "They think you've started a war." Leon looked up at the sky. "Maybe I did," he whispered, "but I didn't start it." The ground trembled again, but not from an attack. The suit pulsed, guiding him toward the far side of the crater. A hidden hatch opened as he approached. Beneath it, an elevator descending into the earth. "Where does it go?" Nira asked. Leon looked at her. "The suit says it's the vault. A place built by the last generation. Maybe there's something there that can help." Without hesitation, he stepped in. Nira followed, the hatch closing above them. The elevator dropped deep, metal walls glowing as it moved. Finally, it stopped at a wide underground hall filled with technology lost to time. Screens lit up, machines hummed, and a giant structure stood in the center, covered in dust and wires. Leon's suit glowed brightly now. "This is it," he said. "The real weapon," Nira gasped. "It's a starship, not just any starship one built in secret. With human design but alien power, a weapon never finished, never launched." Until now, the suit connected with it instantly. Systems waking one by one, engines powered on, lights blazed to life. And a voice echoed through the chamber. "Human command recognized. Welcome back, pilot." Leon looked up at the ship, no longer just a boy, no longer just a survivor. He was now something the galaxy had forgotten, a human with the power to challenge it all, and far above. The fleets prepared to strike. They had seen the broadcast. Now they wanted to silence it, but they were too late, because Earth had just spoken, and its voice was ready for war. The underground chamber was silent, except for the low hum of awakening machines. Leon stood in front of the massive starship, its surface glowing with old symbols. The suit on his body responded with excitement, sync in with the systems around him. It was like the ship recognized him, like it had been waiting for him. Nira stared in disbelief. "This isn't just a ship," she whispered. "It's a relic of the First War." The walls around them lit up with ancient carvings, images. Appeared humans in armor, fighting side by side with Valari, battles in space, planets burning, and then silence. All records ended the same way: darkness and betrayal. Leon touched one of the glowing panels. A burst of data flooded his mind. He saw memories not his own. A pilot named Iran, the last commander of the human resistance. He had led the final defense of Earth when the Council ordered the purge. Iran's voice echoed through the chamber. "If you are hearing this, then you are the last. This ship was meant to carry Earth's memory, our hope, our rage. They tried to erase us. But this will speak louder than silence." Leon's hands trembled. He now knew the truth. The Valari had once been allies. But when humans advanced too fast, too far, the Council grew afraid. Instead of sharing the stars, they chose to burn Earth. Nira stepped forward, her voice shaking. "My people lied," she said. "We told stories about human violence, but we never told the reason why. You were strong, unpredictable, fearless, and that scared them more than any weapon." Leon didn't reply. He looked at the ship, then at the sky shown on a screen above. Enemy signals were growing closer. Red dots multiplying. Time was running out. "Can this thing fly?" he asked. Nira moved to the control station and activated the startup sequence. The engines roared like a beast waking from a long sleep. "Yes," she said, "but you'll need to connect directly." Leon stepped into the central chamber, where a strange chair rose from the floor. The suit began to shift, opening parts of itself, exposing wires, neural links, and glowing circuits. "Are you sure?" Nira asked. Leon nodded. "I don't have a choice." He sat in the chair, and the suit connected to the ship. His eyes closed as data surged through him. Stars filled his mind, maps of battles long gone. Weapons, tactics, emotions, all of it poured into his body like fire. Outside, the earth cracked and a launch ramp opened. Hidden beneath years of rubble, dust and debris blew away as the ship rose slowly. Powerful thrusters lit the night, shaking the ground. The ship reached the surface just as the first Valari fleet arrived. Dozens of sleek ships surrounded Earth, their weapons charged. They had come expecting to erase one last human. They didn't. "Expect a warship from the past. Target locked," one enemy captain said. "Destroy it before others see." But before they could fire, Leon opened the ship's comms. "This is Earth," his voice rang out. "We remember everything. We don't want war, but we won't be erased again." Inside the council chamber, panic broke out. Screens showed the ship, glowing with old human power. A name appeared on the hull, the Valkyrie. That ship was lost. A council elder said, "Impossible," another whispered. But it was real, and it was ready. The enemy fleet launched their attack. Hundreds of plasma blasts rushed toward the Valkyrie. But the ancient warship moved with grace and fury. Its shields absorbed the blasts, then responded. From its wings came beams of pure energy. They didn't just destroy, they disarmed. Enemy ships were shut down, not exploded. It was a message, not a massacre. Leon controlled it with his thoughts, every move, every shot, guided by memory and instinct. He wasn't alone. The voices of past pilots guided him, whispers from a forgotten army. Nira monitored the system from the back. "They're retreating," she said in awe. "They've never seen anything like this." Leon nodded. "They saw ghosts." he replied. Ghosts of the First War. He hovered above Earth, looking down at the ruined planet. It was still broken, still silent, but for the first time, it had a voice again, not just his, but the voice of every human who once dreamed of the stars. He opened the broadcast again. This is not revenge, he said. This is memory. We are not your enemies, but we are not your ghosts either. And across the galaxy, those words echoed into halls of power, into dens of fear, and deep inside the hearts of those who still believed in truth. Earth had risen from silence, not as a warning, but as a reminder. The past can be buried, but it never stays dead forever. The Valkyrie drifted above Earth like a sleeping god. Its silver hull gleamed under the fading light of the sun. Enemy fleets had pulled back, afraid to fight something so old, so powerful. But Leon knew peace wouldn't last. Inside the warship, he sat still in the pilot's chair, eyes closed. The neural links from the suit were deep inside the ship now. His mind was floating in a sea of memories, not his memories, but echoes from the past. He saw flashes of the old Earth, bright cities full of life, families laughing under starlit skies, and then the fire, the betrayal, the silence. Voices whispered inside his head. You must remember. You must choose. The ship had won. Final protocol, the trial. Every true human pilot had to pass it before the ship would give full control. Nira stood beside him, watching his body tense and shake. Is he okay? She asked the ship's system. Trial in progress, the voice replied. Memory unlock required. Leon opened his eyes, but what he saw was not the warship. He stood in a glowing white room, a place built from thought, not metal. Before him stood three figures, ghosts in armor, their faces hidden. One stepped forward, its voice cold and calm. Leon, son of Earth, it said. You carry the blood of the forgotten. You wear the armor, but do you carry the weight? Leon clenched his fists. What is this? This is the trial, the figure said. You must prove you understand what it means to be the last. To hold memory is to carry pain. The room changed. He saw his parents running through smoke and rubble, his mother's last scream, his father's blood on the ground. The pain hit him like fire. You survived, the second figure said. But survival is not enough. Will you let anger guide you? Leon dropped to his knees. I wanted revenge, he whispered. But now, I want the truth to live. The third figure stepped forward. That is your answer, it said. Then rise, Leon. You are no longer a witness. You are a guardian. The trial ended. He gasped and sat up in the chair, the suit glowing brighter than ever. Nira rushed to him. Are you all right? Leon nodded slowly. I saw them, he said. The ones who came before. They showed me everything. The ship responded immediately. Systems that had been locked now opened. Weapons, defenses, and deep archives came online. Leon was now the true pilot of the Valkyrie. Above Earth, the Valari fleet regrouped. This time, they sent a message to the human aboard the Valkyrie. You have committed a violation of ancient law. You will stand before the Galactic Tribunal, Nira. Read the message aloud, frowning. They want to put you on trial, she said. They think they can silence you that way. Leon stood, his voice calm. Then let them try. I'll bring the truth with me. Within hours, the ship jumped through space, using the old gates that had once belonged to human colonies. Most were broken, but the Valkyrie rebuilt them mid-flight. The technology inside it was far ahead of what the galaxy now knew. They arrived at the Galactic Tribunal, a massive ring-shaped station floating above a white star. Alien ships from many species hovered nearby, watching, curious, fearful, silent. Leon and Nira entered the main hall, where hundreds of leaders gathered in silence. The Grand Judge, a creature of age and many eyes, spoke first. You are Leon, human of Earth, it said. You have disturbed the balance. You broadcast forbidden memories. Leon stepped forward, no fear in his eyes. You erased Earth, he said. You lied about what happened. You said we were violent, dangerous. But you never said why, the crowd murmured. He continued. You were afraid of what we could become. So you burned our history, left us to die. Nira stood beside him. I am Valari, she said loudly, and I say he speaks the truth. Gasps echoed across the chamber. A Valari defending a human was unheard of. Leon held up a small sphere, the memory core. It floated into the air and began to show the same images from the broadcast. This time, clearer, louder, undeniable. The hall fell silent. Some leaders lowered their heads, others turned away in shame. Then, a young alien prince stood. My people helped silence Earth. He said, I was taught to fear humans, but I see now. I was taught wrong. One by one, others stood with him. The tribunal could not ignore the wave of truth. The grand judge looked down at Leon. Then Earth shall not be forgotten, it said. But your journey is not over, Leon nodded. I don't want revenge, he said. I want memory, and I want peace. And so, in the place meant to condemn him, Leon stood tall, not as an enemy, but as the voice of a forgotten world. The trial was over, but the galaxy had only just begun to listen. The stars looked different now, where once they had watched in silence. Now they listened, and the name Earth was no longer a whisper, it was a storm. Leon had done what no one thought possible. He had brought the truth back to life. The Galactic Tribunal had not punished him. They had listened, watched, and stood silent as the memory core replayed history. But outside the chamber, many still doubted, many still feared. Leon knew the truth was out now, but peace would not come easily. Back aboard the Valkyrie, the ancient warship hummed quietly. Its systems had fully awakened, no longer just a relic. It was now the first voice of a people long thought dead. Nira stood by the ship's window, watching space traffic swirl outside. You changed everything, she said to Leon. He nodded, eyes fixed on the stars. Not just me, he said. My parents, my people, the ones who fell before me, they're all part of this. The Council of Elders had declared that Earth would be re-added to the galactic records. They promised to send aid, to help rebuild. But Leon refused to let them do it alone. We will rebuild with our own hands, he said. We're not just survivors, we're builders, dreamers, fighters. And so the journey began. The Valkyrie returned to Earth, this time not alone. Behind it came smaller ships, some from curious species. Others from those who felt guilty. They did not come with weapons. They came with seeds, tools, and open hands. Leon walked through the ruins of the old city. This time he wasn't hiding. Children ran through the grass where buildings had once fallen. Grown aliens helped humans plant food in clean soil. The air smelled different, like hope. Every day, more humans came out from bunkers, forests, and forgotten caves. They had survived in silence, waiting for a sign. And now that sign had returned, wearing armor, flying an old ship, and speaking with strength. One night, Leon stood near the same rooftop where it all began. He looked at the stars and whispered, I kept my promise, Dad. We're not forgotten. Nera joined him, her voice quiet. The council offered you a place with them. She said, you turned it down. Leon smiled slightly. I don't want to sit in chairs, he said. I want to build something that lasts. The Valkyrie had become more than a warship. It was now a beacon. Inside it, Leon kept all the memory cores. He called it the Archive of Earth. Aliens from across the stars came to visit, to learn the real history, to understand what had been erased. Some wept, others apologized. Many promised they would never let such lies happen again. In the far corners of space, however, not everyone was happy. A group called the Obscura, a silent order of old empires, watched from the shadows. They believed that truth made the galaxy weak. They believed Earth's return would bring rebellion. Leon heard whispers of their name, but he wasn't afraid. Because now he wasn't alone. Earth had allies, Valkyrie rebels who stood with him. Species who believed in truth, in unity, and above all, in memory. One day, a young girl approached Leon as he repaired an old building. She held a drawing of a Blue planet with stars around it. Is this your home? She asked. Leon kneeled and smiled. Yes, he said. It's called Earth. The girl looked up at him with wide eyes. Will I ever go there? Leon nodded. Not only will you go, he said, you'll help make it beautiful again, and... She smiled, a small, innocent smile, one that didn't belong in a world of war. But now finally, it had space to grow. Years passed. The ruins became gardens, the silence turned into music, and the Valkyrie stood proudly above it all, not as a weapon, but as a monument. Leon never called himself a hero. He called himself a messenger, a keeper of memory, a voice for the forgotten. And when asked one day by a curious student, what happened after the galaxy forgot Earth? He looked out at the stars and answered, we reminded them. So the story of Earth lived on, not in books, not in silence, but in voices, hands, and the hearts of those who believed in second chances. And the boy who once hid in tunnels, who wore armor older than the stars, who faced fleets with nothing but the truth. He lived to tell, and because he did, the galaxy changed forever.